I thought our love story was a fairy tale. We met in college, two kids with big dreams and even bigger hearts. He was the charismatic one, the guy who could light up a room with just his smile. I was the planner, the one who sketched out our future on napkins during late-night diner dates. A house with a white picket fence, two kids, a golden retriever named Buddy. He'd laugh and trace my drawings with his finger, promising we'd make it all happen. And for a while we did. We got married right after graduation. Our first apartment was tiny, the paint was peeling, and the plumbing was questionable, but it was ours. It was filled with laughter and cheap takeout and the smell of his cologne on my pillows. He worked in finance, long hours and high stress, while I started my own small graphic design business from our cramped living room. I poured every ounce of my energy into building our foundation. I was the steady hand, the constant support system. I managed our finances, cooked every meal, and made sure our little home was a sanctuary for him to return to after a tough day. I truly believed we were a team, building our empire brick by brick. The first crack appeared about 5 years in. He started coming home later and later. "Big project at work," he'd say, looking exhausted. I'd rub his shoulders, draw him a bath, and never question it. Why would I? This was my husband, the man who held my hand through every high and low. Then the business trip started. Weekend trips, week-long conferences. He'd come back with expensive gifts, little trinkets to smooth over his absence. I'd thank him, but a small, cold knot of doubt began to form in my stomach. He seemed distant, his eyes would look past me, not at me. The easy laughter we once shared was replaced by a tense silence. I tried to talk to him. I'd ask if he was okay, if work was too much. He'd just wave it off. "Just stressed, babe. It'll pass." But it didn't pass. He became more secretive with his phone, always keeping it face down or taking calls in another room. When I asked who was calling so late, he'd get defensive. "It's just work. Can't a guy have some privacy?" His words were like tiny paper cuts, small but stinging. I started to feel like I was going crazy, like I was the one being unreasonable. I'd look in the mirror and wonder what had changed. Was I not pretty enough anymore? Not interesting enough? I tried harder, dressing up for him, planning elaborate date nights he'd often cancel at the last minute. The day my world shattered started like any other. He was on another business trip to Chicago. I was cleaning out our shared closet when a small unfamiliar gift bag fell from the top shelf. Inside was a delicate silver necklace, one I'd never seen before. It wasn't my style at all. Tucked in the bottom of the bag was a receipt. It was from a jewelry store near our home, dated 2 weeks prior. My heart started pounding. But it was the other receipt tucked behind it that stopped my breath. It was for a hotel. A boutique hotel in our own city, for the same weekend he was supposedly in Chicago. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. I searched the hotel online. It was a romantic, high-end place. A place for couples, not a place for a business meeting. A wave of nausea washed over me. The lies, the late nights, the distance, it all clicked into place with horrifying clarity. This wasn't about a big project at work. This was about another woman. I felt a hollow ache spread through my chest, a physical pain so intense it brought me to my knees. The future I had so carefully planned, the life I had poured my soul into, was a house of cards, and it was collapsing around me. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, a ghost in my own home. Every photo on the wall, every shared object, felt like a monument to a lie. When he finally called that evening, his voice cheerful and oblivious, I couldn't pretend anymore. "How's Chicago?" I asked, my own voice flat and unrecognizable. "Oh, same old," he said breezily. "Just finished a long day of meetings. Miss you like crazy." The casualness of his lie was what broke me. It was so easy for him. "You're a liar," I whispered. The line went silent. I could practically hear his mind racing, trying to figure out how I knew. "I found the hotel receipt," I said, my voice gaining strength with every word of truth. The one for the hotel a few miles from our house. The one for this weekend. How's your business trip with her? The silence on the other end was my confirmation. There were no more excuses, no more defenses. Just the crushing weight of his betrayal. The days that followed were a blur of tears and painful conversations. He admitted everything. Her name was Sarah, a colleague from his office. It had been going on for over a year. A whole year. He had been living a double life, and I was the clueless wife at home, faithfully keeping the home fires burning. He cried, he begged. He said it was a mistake. But how can a year of calculated deceit be a mistake? It wasn't a slip-up. It was a choice he made every single day. He chose to lie to me, to betray our vows, to shatter the world I thought we were building together. I looked at the man I had loved for a decade, and I saw a stranger. The trust, the very foundation of our relationship, was gone. It had been eroded by 1,000 little lies until nothing was left but dust. Staying with him would mean living with that ghost forever, always wondering, always doubting. I deserved more than that. I deserved honesty. I deserved a partner, not a performer. It was the hardest decision of my life, but I knew I had to leave. I packed my bags, leaving behind the house, the furniture, and the life I had worked so hard to build. But I wasn't leaving empty-handed. I was taking my self-respect, my integrity, and a newfound strength I never knew I possessed. The pain is still there, a scar on my heart that will likely never fade completely. But it's also a reminder. A reminder that I survived the collapse of my world. Now I'm rebuilding. Not from a blueprint sketched on a napkin, but from a place of resilience and self-love. My new life isn't the one I planned, but it's real, and it's mine. There's no white picket fence yet, but my home is filled with peace. And that is something no lie can ever take away. If you're going through something similar, know that you are not alone, and you are stronger than you think. The end of one story is just the beginning of another, your story. Thanks for listening.